Hey guys, today we're having a look at scientific research, we're having a look at life purpose and a few other areas. I'm kind of really just going to touch on, I'm not going to go into too deep a detail. Yeah, of course, there'll be future videos that go into more detail on a lot of the topics today. But first of all, I want to start the video with a friend of mine who, the way I run my business, for example, is I don't advertise. I don't like having to trick people into coming and doing anything. I don't like talking anyone into it. I don't think I have to sell myself. I just help people. If I've helped them in a good way, they'll tell other people and so on and so forth. And he's always saying, I should do blog articles and have statistics and things in there because people love to read statistics. But look, the thing with statistics and scientific research, it can literally be used to prove absolutely anything. And I just choose to appeal to people's higher intelligence rather than just, trick or entice people in with statistics and scientific research and things. Even though some scientific research is useful to use, obviously when I'm coaching people, it's not the way I like to approach things. So I've been guilty of this in the past myself, of what I'm about to bring up, and that is, okay, so scientific research, so what will happen, and a lot of the times scientific research when it comes to health is it's done on animals, right? And, so people will take the example of, well, a lion does this, or a rabbit does that, or an elephant is huge and it only eats plants and whatever, and it's like, yeah, well, we're not, we're animals, but we're humans, we're different to a fish or a toad or a tree or something, so, we all have different needs. But the trap we fall into is when we form beliefs and then we want to validate them with something. So, rats come up as a big example all the time because rats for some reason are used to test a lot of things on. So somebody will say, well, rats were fed, I don't know, some sort of, let's just say it's animal foods, right? So rats were fed animal foods and then it shows this and that. And then, people go, well, it doesn't really matter because it's a rat. But then a vegan will go, well, there's a rat on a vegan low-calorie diet that lived to be a lot longer than the rest. And so they'll use that to support, they're like, yeah, that supports veganism. And so, and even though they were the same person that said, no, you can't use a rat to prove that meat does something because it's a rat. So, and I was guilty of this in the past with certain things, you form beliefs about something and then, you just use anything you can to validate it. Now, most scientific research is, if you look at the way the world is structured, because most people for some reason still don't understand the structure of the world, most of it's done by, it has to be financed, right? And it's financed by people with a lot of money. So the people with a lot of money get to sway or have the results that they want in order for the masses to, I guess, believe it, and then that allows them to sell whatever they want to the masses. It's the way the matrix works. So, a lot of scientific research is paid for, carried out by, or at least influenced by pharmaceutical companies and drug companies, which are very, very high up in world structure. And then, you've got the same happens with supplement companies. And don't know this for sure, this is a theory of mine, but I think, supplements are a huge industry today. And I'm pretty sure that there's something going on between pharmaceuticals and supplements. People go, oh, take supplements because it's more natural than taking drugs. But I'm pretty sure, in my own mind, that supplement companies are bought out by, owned by, financed by pharmaceutical companies because it just allows them a bigger piece of the control and how they control the masses. So yeah, scientific research, it can be used to prove pretty much anything, one way or another. You can always skew it one way or another. So I tend to take a broader, holistic perspective to anything in life. And while I look at scientific research, especially when it comes to sports performance and nutritional endocrinology, things like that, but by and large, I keep a very open mind about that, and wherever I see the masses going, I tend to probably look in the opposite direction to people that are doing their own thing. People who are always, as I'm a lot, actually criticised for, living my own life purpose and doing my own thing because I'm not fitting in with, and then people get angry about that because they're conditioned by the matrix to try to condition everyone else to fit the matrix and things. So anyway, that's another story altogether. But going back to rats for a second now, I'm going to give you a quote to preface the rest of the video, and that is that, I'll annotate it for you as well so it'll burn into your memory, that is that some study the root while others pick the fruit. Now, using a rat example, people can inject a rat with, let's call it vitamin X, right? And then they'll say, well, vitamin X does this for the body, and then but vitamin X needs vitamin K to go along with it. So now I'm going to produce a supplement or something that has vitamin X and vitamin K in it. Or I'm going to fortify crappy bread and milk or whatever with vitamin X and vitamin K because it does this. Now, the problem with this approach is that if you just lived a natural life, you don't have to know that. And I use the quote, some study the root while others pick the fruit, as an example, because instead of taking a vitamin pill, for example, I could use a million different analogies for this, or examples, the way people live their lives, but instead of taking a vitamin supplement, eat fruit. Fruit has not only the vitamins you need, it has the right amount of water and fibre to assimilate it, it has the right co-nutrients to assimilate it, it has the right enzymes in order to make it absorbable. It has the right everything. It's just God's done this for us. We don't need to study it. We don't need to break it down. You know, God gave us everything. God gave us the answers to everything. God gave us truth. God gave us the fruit to eat so that we don't have to study the root. God gave us the ability to sustain ourselves perfectly and then use that as a base to just grow, to expand, for our consciousness to expand. But what do? We glimpse truth, and then some people, as I mentioned in my peace videos, it's like for some reason it's boring because people are distracted and they're always looking for a distraction. So they take, say, truth, and then they have to try to prove that truth exists. So they go and overanalyze it, overthink it, and do all these things. And truth is just always there. You could have just sat there, basked in the beauty of nature, the power of the universe and God and everything else. But instead of choosing to grow from there, you've chosen to retract. As I said, overthink, overanalyze, try to prove the truth exists, try to prove that these vitamins or something, you can use a million different examples for that, but I think you get the bigger picture there. So, it's just, you could spend your life's work trying to prove these things when you're only just trying to prove what was already there, and you're not even doing it as well as what was already provided. And so what you've really done is chosen to miss out on life, the purpose of life, and your purpose of life. Not you. Just as if you're going along this sort of way of thinking, the way the world, humans think that we need to do things. So to wrap up, you can use science. I mean, I'm a fan of science. I studied science. I was good at it at school. I like it. It fascinates me. But I also, if you've watched the God That Failed video, you realise that science can never... it's just that I think science is a fun plaything. It should never be used as a benchmark of anything. It's just something that we do for fun to, test our human capabilities and things. But the greater reality of what life is lies beyond science. And I just think if you're spending a lot of time trying to use statistics and science and everything to prove anything that you want to prove, you'll prove it. If you want to prove anything, I don't care how skewed or weird or even wrong that it is, if you want to, you'll find a way to scientifically validate it, or find a way to prove it in some way, or find some sort of evidence to back that up. You can do that. And if you want to spend your life, as I said with that example before, doing that, I just think I would just hazard a guess that that's a life not well lived. That's fear. That's like the people that here's just a quick example, I guess. Because I think I've mentioned before in the love videos and things. I've been single for most of my life, even though I've had people come and go. It's not like I've never bought into the whole you just stick with one person and you do. Even though I'm open to that, and that's another story. But the whole point is that you'll go, you'll talk to people, and even though you're not, there's always we communicate. This is getting way off topic, and I'm going to do a video on this specifically. But we communicate in a lot of ways, obviously, other than our verbal communication. And one way is we communicate, especially with the opposite sex, we communicate sexually. We actually communicate sexually with the same sex too when it comes to dominance and submissiveness and things like that, and your status as a male over other males and whatever, or females over other females. But let's just say it's a male or female. And you know what people love to be able to say, boys and girls, is that they love to be able to say, oh, I have a girlfriend or I have a boyfriend. Even though there's been no interest portrayed or something like that, they just love it because it's a way out. It's like, oh, good, I can, even though they have a crappy relationship and they hate it and whatever else, they love having it's just something to fall back on so that they don't have to put themselves out there. They don't have to be vulnerable. They don't have to have an open heart. They can close off. and this just relates to, you know, if you're putting your life's work into trying to validate things and whatever, it's a way of not living life. It's a way of sitting back. I'm talking this is a way too long video, so I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to introduce you on the next video to my mate Pete. Pete is just a sentient being who is completely living his life purpose. And I'm going to introduce you to him, and just to show you, I guess, how you can break through some of the matrix and beliefs and things like that. So stay tuned. Hope you got something out of the video. If you have any questions, email me. I will expand on these topics at a later date. And until then, I will see you when I'm with Pete. Catch you then.